Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you of your CRKT Squid. And this is Columbia River Knife and Tool. I haven't talked much about CRKT stuff, but this is a knife that I've been kind of watching take at least the Reddit knife world by storm. It seems like this is a fad knife. Everybody's suddenly getting them, and I can kind of see why at some level. And I'd like to thank Dan, one of my viewers, for sending this in. He is a real gem of a human being, sent me a bunch of new gear to check out, and this is one of his, and I appreciate it very much. Size comparison, here is your Spyderco Delica and the standard US quarter. So this is not a very large knife at all. And this particular one is a limited edition. It's got titanium on the backside here. It's got a carbon fiber lamination on top here. And it's a very slightly different steel. But the regular versions are the same shape and have a lot of the same characteristics, and they're only 15 bucks. So I'm going to treat this guy as a Thrifty Thursday, even though this exact model, I think was closer to 40 bucks. But everything I'm going to say about the Squid here is true there as well. So let's just jump on into the good, the bad, and the ugly of your CRKT Squid. So, okay, good-wise. A bunch of good here. This has got a very nice small size to it. This is not a big knife in any way, shape, or form. It's small in the pocket, it's small in the hand, and it's got a small little blade on it here. Like I said, compared to your Delica, it's tiny, and the blade is only 2¼ inches, which means it's legal damn near everywhere. Even in Boston, you can carry a CRKT Squid here, which is a nice thing. This particular model is fairly lightweight because it's G10 on one side, titanium on the other side. The all-steel models are going to be heavier than this, so I'm not going to really go into the weight. But this particular one is nicely lightweight. The lockup on it is pretty solid. It's a frame lock, just like the others are steel frame locks. And, no concerns there whatsoever. It's got a nice deeper carry clip. It looks a lot, actually, like your Kershaw deep carry clip, but it's just another one of those. And so this rides fairly low in the pocket, with the exception of this little thing sticking up at the back there. On the titanium on this particular one, the stonewashing is pretty nice. The ergonomics on the whole are pretty good. It just kind of hangs out in the hand nicely. It's very small, but it's built to be very small. So you can see that it kind of slots itself nicely into this area. Yeah, my pinky's got nothing to do with this, but I feel like this is pretty secure in my hand, and because of these little cutouts here, as well as the jimping there, this really isn't going anywhere. So ergonomically, it's nice. I got no complaints, especially for a knife that's this small. Very happy about that. Sorry, I got helicopters or planes or something out there. Go figure, right? So, ergos are good. And then finally, I do like the blade shape a lot here. It's very functional in that you've got a nice flat portion here. You've got a little bit of belly for food prep. And it's just completely unscary to people. This, both because of its size and because of this blade shape, is just a fundamentally non-frightening sort of knife. And that makes it a very nice choice for an office kind of EDC carry. So, yeah, there's your good. It's got a nice small size, it's got a nice blade shape, it's got nice ergonomics, and, it carries nice and deep. So that's a beautiful thing. Let's go on into your bad here. Okay, your bad. First and foremost, the steel isn't great, particularly in the cheaper version. It's your 8CR13 MOV, which is fine at 15 bucks, but, just not a great steel. A couple of other issues. The backspacer here is a different color and finish than any other part of this knife. None of the screws, none of the pivot, nothing else matches this bright white, tumbled pot metal kind of thing. And, that just struck me as a little bit off from a design standpoint. This isn't actually carbon fiber here, or maybe it is for just a little bit, but there's actually an overlay or a sticker here of carbon fiber on top of plain G10, and half the knife is G10. I can forgive that in a cheaper knife, but still, a little less than ideal, and the fact that it isn't actually carbon fiber is a little like, oh, come on, guys. Another bad thing is that it's on Teflon washers, which means that you need a fair amount of force through the entire opening and closing process. This knife will not shut unless you use a lot of force to try and shut it. And I just don't care for that. I don't like Teflon washers in general just because they don't feel as nice. It's smooth, but you require constant force. You will never be able to flick this knife open in the way that you can other knives. It just doesn't work that way. So that's a little bit bad. And then the fit and finish on this knife is, and particularly on this upgraded version where they should have done better, is just not impressing me. I mean, the centering's okay, but for instance, the thumb studs are very, very sharp. They really do tear into your thumb in an unfortunate way. There's a lot of burring in the machining. So for instance, if you look here, there's a burr right here in this corner. There's more burring going on over here, over here, over here. And the inside of these cutouts is just really bad. I'm not a big fan of that whatsoever. And then, for instance, these pins here, or this pin, that is just not flush fit at all on both sides. So if they'd used a longer pin, that could have looked good, but they didn't. And then even the carbon fiber finish on the edges is just a little bit flaky. So I'm just really not that impressed with the fit and finish here. On the $15 version, I'm willing to give that a pass, but if you're going to sell an upgraded version, you got to do better than that. So there's your bad. The steel ain't great. The back spacer is completely out of place on this, and not even really even with the rest of the knife. And it's got Teflon washers, and the fit and finish is just not great. Let's go into your ugly. The real ugly thing about this knife is that it's been built in such a way that it really just can't be disassembled, or at least it can't be disassembled without a whole lot of pain. Because there's a lot of Loctite that's been used here to keep it together, and the red stuff that prevents you from disassembling, but more terribly, is that look at the back of the pivot screw here. This is just a smooth surface. And that's just fine if your pivot is keyed in some way so that this part cannot rotate. But indeed, you have a red Loctited, so permanently secured, pivot where if you turn this, the entire thing just turns. You can turn this and you just watch the backside rotate, rotate, rotate. It is possible that with enough heat applied to the pivot to melt the Loctite and some kind of really high friction surface on the back here, you could actually disassemble this knife. And some people have pulled it off. But it's just meant very clearly not to be disassembled. And, you need extraordinary measures to go there, at least with this particular one. I started to disassemble it and then realized, what, this is a loner. If I keep trying to this, I may hurt it, and I don't want to do that. And that's just no good, especially when there are lots of other inexpensive knives that can be disassembled for cleaning, for oiling, for things like that. And so the end result is that you get a knife that's, in this case, $40 or $50, but even on the cheap end, that's just kind of disposable. Like, yeah, you'll use it, and you'll use it, and you'll use it, and you can kind of wash it out, like throw it in the dishwasher or something, because it's $15. But past a certain point, you just can't get in there and do a service, and I'm not a big fan of that at all. And I always ding Spyderco on having their warranty prohibit disassembly. On this guy, making it really hard to do that, just no good. And so that's really ugly. They've given you a knife that makes it really hard to maintain it. And so, that's the ugly here. What's my final verdict? So look, this is, in a lot of ways, there's a lot of good going on here. The ergonomics are good, the blade shape is good, the size is very nice, and it's legal and not scary damn near everywhere. The blade steel is adequate, even on the $15 version, and, it's a $15 knife. This one's $40, but still, even the $15 one is just, it's inexpensive, but it's not dangerous or problematic in any particular way. You do get some major fit and finish issues, though. You do get the issues with disassembly. Makes it very, very hard to do. And, you do get the Teflon washers, which make for an action that I'm not a big fan of personally. So, do I recommend the CRKT Squid? If you like the design a lot, and if it's particularly appealing to you, then yeah, go ahead and do it. I got no problem saying, yeah, have fun. But I'm not even considering picking up one of these guys at the end of it, and I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way for it either. I'll be comparing this to a bunch of other folders in the Thrifty Thursday kind of final countdown, if you will, and so you'll see a little bit more of it there, but that's kind of where I land on it. It's a nice enough knife, but I'm not super thrilled by it. So, I guess there's the final verdict. Nice enough, but not super thrilling. So, hope this has been helpful, and have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day.